안녕하세요. 모두 코리안의 소피쌤입니다. Hello my purple angels and welcome back to my channel.
I wanna be a weekend lover. Yeah, I'ma be the best damn lover you got.
We're starting a brand new series today, everyone, and we are going on a little journey that we're going to call Like a Native. So, this series is going to be on how to pronounce Korean characters and sound like a native. Basically, we're going to be going through every single character one by one and really zero in on each and every individual sound. So let's start off with our consonants. As you may know, we have 10 consonants in the Korean alphabet, and then we also have 10 vowels, and then a bunch of combined vowels as well. So let's get started with the first set of consonants. So we're going to start with the G character, the G sound. Now don't get confused because in English, the G letter makes a G sound and it also makes a J sound depending on the word. It's a bit crazy. So this character, this right angle, is the G sound. Korean characters or Korean sounds overall are much softer than the English equivalent. So when we are saying the G sound, let's add it with the R vowel. That will go ka. So notice how it's so much softer than the English G. Let's compare it to the English equivalent, which would probably be GA or ga. Notice that difference. Ka, ga. Ka, ga. So we're letting the sound almost just float out of our mouth. We're not forcing it out. It just slowly flies or floats out of our mouth. Try it one more time. Ka. Now to some people this sounds like a K sound, but listen to this difference. The K would be ka. Ka. All right, so it's softer than the G, but it's not a K. So you can think of it as kind of being somewhere in between. So it's not ga or ka. It is ka. The next consonant is the N. Now, this one is an easy one. It sounds very similar to the English N, but again, it is a tiny bit softer. So rather than going na, we're saying na. And again, the sound is kind of just floating out of our mouth. Na. The third consonant is the D character. Okay, the English equivalent would be DA or da. Right, so we want to soften that sound and let it again float out of our mouth. Ready? Ta. Ta. So, I know it can sound very similar to a T, but if we make that comparison, the T would sound like a ta. Ta. Right? It's a very sharp sound. So rather than that, we need to think, as an English speaker, you need to be thinking in your head that it's a D, but soft. Ta. A quick tip here is to almost think that the consonant part of the sound makes up only about 10% of the sound, and the vowel makes up the 90% of your sound. Unlike in English, the consonant sound is what really takes over, right? So in English, we go da, da, and it's a strong D and a very small ah. We want to reverse that in Korean and go d, ah, ta. Notice how small that D sound is. And you can apply this tip across any syllable you say. The next consonant is the L character. Some people will say that it sometimes sounds like an L and sometimes sounds like an R. Now, the way I see it is that it's not an L or an R, right? It's neither of those. It is the dir, which is what this character is called. It's a thing of its own. We use the English alphabet as a point of reference, but it's neither of those, right? So if I had to describe this, I would say that it is a halfway between an L and an R, if we could put it on like a spectrum. So the English R is what we like to call, Koreans will call it a very rolly sound. So it's a very rolly sound. What I mean by that is if you look at an R word, like let's say roll, right? That rolling sound comes from your lips. Roll, roll. Or rabbit, rabbit, right? So it's the lips that creates that R sound, that rolling sound. The L sound, on the other hand, is created by the very strong tongue flick that happens in your mouth when saying that sound. For example, love, love. Say it after me. Love. Letter. So can you feel how your tongue, you could even see it, love, love. Your tongue is like doing this huge swish inside your mouth, like creating a tidal wave inside your mouth, right? And that's what creates this English L sound. The Korean L, however, we want to kind of combine these two. And the way to do that is by saying the L, but rolling it slightly, using your tongue and not your lips, like the English R. For example, if I wanted to say ra, right? This is not a ra. Watch how I'm not using my lips, ra, to make that consonant sound. I'm also not flicking my tongue too hard. So I'm not going la, la. Instead, I am saying it with the L, but it's a very, very soft tongue flick. Watch again. Ra, ra. And notice how it's a slightly rolled sound, not with the lips. Ra, ra. Notice my lips haven't moved at all, which minuses the rolling R sound. Alrighty, we are on to the B character. So, same thing. It is a lot softer than the English B. So, what we are not doing is ba. Ba. Right? We are not sheep. So, what we want to do instead is soften that B sound so it sounds like a pa. Pa. I recognize that this can also sound slightly like a P sound, but the P sound would go like this. Pa. Pa. So hear the difference? Pa. Pa. Okay, the Korean P is a lot more P-E than the English P. It's very sharp and very breathy. So I'll give you another tip on how to pronounce the B a little softer, and it's all in your lips. So take the English B sound, for example. Say it with me. Ba. Ba. And notice how when you say it, your lips go inside your mouth and they tense a little bit. Ba. Ba. What you need to do to soften the sound is to soften your lips. So your lips are not going in first and they're not tight. Pa. Pa. Your lips should be very soft against each other so the sound comes out softly. Next one is the S. Now this one is notoriously going to be the most difficult one to soften. But there is a trick to this. So let's say it with the R sound again. Now let me say the English equivalent first. It will go sa, sa. Right? So to soften this, we need to go sa, sa. First of all, you do need to slow down, right? I have seen many students try to practice their pronunciation a little bit too quickly. You need to be patient with yourself and not just go sa, sa, sa like this, because you're not thinking, right? And if you're not properly thinking about how you need to move your mouth, your tongue, your lips, then chances are you're going to be pronouncing it wrong and you're not going to improve. So as I always say to my students, please just say it once, but make that one time really count. So think about it, prepare your mouth, prepare your emotions, prepare yourself to really say it properly. So here it is. What you need to do is only make the sound of the S with the breath and not your vocals. S, s. Everyone give that a go. S. And then I'm adding a R sound separately. So we're going sa. So if this is a sound that you are finding a little bit more difficult, try to separate those sounds first. You're separating by going s, ah, s, ah. And then you're just making that gap come closer and closer and closer. So it would go s, ah, sa, 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 sa. Okay, the last consonant that we will be covering today is the J character. And you can probably see this coming, but we do need to soften it. It is not a ja, right? We're not going ja and with that strong J sound. So only about 10% of the sound is the J, 90%, so the vast majority is the ah sound. So it will go like this. Ta, ta. Okay, notice how I'm not going cha, cha, right? That consonant does exist separately, so we don't want to make a CH sound. We're making a J sound, but making it soft. Ta, not ja. Ta. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. But otherwise, 감사합니다, and I will see you next week. 안녕히 가세요.